The movie starts with two sisters, Asya and Maria. We see them walking along, and it's clear they're running away from something. The important thing is that little Maria gets tired, so she tells her older sister, Asya, "I'm tired." Asya says, "Come on, let's go to the supermarket, we'll buy something to eat and keep going." So they went into the supermarket and they start looking for something to eat. Then Maria says to Asya, "I'm scared our dad will find us." Asya tells her, "Don't be scared. That won't happen. We've run away and I'll stay with you so I can get to know you." It turns out that Maria and Asya are running away from their father because he makes them do really hard work and beat them. And anyway, Asya didn't even finish her sentence before they realized their father had caught up to them. He'd been following them all along. So Asya and Maria grabbed each other and started running. But their father saw them and turned around. He was with his friend in a car. They surrounded Asya and Maria from behind and in front. So Asya was forced to pull out the gun she was carrying and immediately fired a shot at the father. She was about to finish him off, but that's where the problem was. The shot hit the father, but not fatally. However, the police were nearby and arrived immediately. At that moment, Asya assessed the situation and realized she'd be in trouble if she stayed, and the father was holding on to Maria tightly and wouldn't let her go. So she started running away from the scene, knowing she had betrayed her sister and fled, leaving her in endless torment. But sir, a lot of time has passed since that incident, and we're currently at a hotel called Virge. We see Asya in front of the hotel now, carrying her suitcase, and it seems she's coming to work here at this hotel. And indeed, Asya enters the hotel, and the one who greets her is Lily, the head housekeeper of the place. From the very moment Asya entered the place, it felt very strange.
El clima de Uy es absolutamente hermoso.
Excellent. You got the intonation exactly right. Next sentence. Me gustaría pedir un café grande, por favor.
Me gustaría pedir un café grande, por favor.
Perfect. Your phrasing is improving so quickly. Keep up the good work.
It was so impressive that as soon as I walked in, I saw the door was secured with more than 3 massive locks. But I didn't let that stop me and went in with Lily. Lily told me that the Virgil Hotel is a very historic hotel. It's been in operation for over 100 years, and she assured me I'd be very comfortable there. Then she introduced me to the hotel staff, who, by the way, live here at the hotel with them, because, as she says, it's a family-run hotel. The first person, who's very important to us in this matter, is Sharon, who, as I told you, is one of the hotel staff. Sharon is really kind, honestly, and she gave her jacket to Asia because it was wet from the rain outside. And then she reassured her that she'd be comfortable, the important people here at work. Then she takes Asia and continues with her through the hotel to show her around the place. Asia said as they were walking that she'd show her the rest of the hotel tomorrow, but for now she's just walking her through the first floor, the floor where the servants live. By the way, the place was full of servants, but all hands were strange. But Asia didn't care and continued with Lily to the room where she'll be staying. The point is, I was suddenly shocked when I saw her husband coming out of Asia's room, as if he'd been doing something inside. So Lily said to him, "Every time someone new comes to us, you have the same conversation." He said, "Yeah," and didn't say anything else. Just left her. And of course, she covered up what happened so Asia wouldn't notice. Anyway, Asia wasn't interested at all. She finally entered her room and closed the door behind her. The room was very large and unnaturally spacious, so Asia was honestly happy with it. But she immediately took out her suitcase and opened it, took a gift and put the rest of the suitcase in the closet. She put it in the closet, then went into the bathroom to take a shower. But the thing is, while she was taking a very hot shower, the steam in the room had fogged up the bathroom mirror, so all she could see was a single message written on it. That message was basically the one sent by my husband, whose name, by the way, is Barry. The message from my friend said, "They're going to kill you." Of course, Asya didn't see the message at all because she'd been in the shower for so long. By the time she finished and stepped out to look at herself in the mirror, she realized the steam had covered everything, so she couldn't see anything in the mirror. She got dressed and went to bed. But as soon as she stepped out of the bathroom, she sensed a strange sound coming from the ventilation vent. Someone was watching her. She went to look and saw something strange appear. She was so shocked she fell to the floor, but she got up again and went out to see what was going on. She found the place deserted. Everyone was asleep. Even the lights were starting to turn off and it was getting dark. She gathered her wits, terrified, and entered her room through the window, locking herself in securely. She placed a chair against the door and fell asleep. A little while later, someone came and entered Asia's room through the ventilation vent. Asia woke up and felt that someone was with her in the room, but she couldn't see anything at all until she looked behind her and saw a person wearing a terrifying mask. He grabbed her and started choking her in every way possible, and he also had a knife, so she quickly knocked him out, making him fall on his head onto the table, and he passed out. Then Asia looked at the handkerchief and realized it had a drug on it, so she knew the drug could take effect at any moment and she'd be completely out of it, especially since the masked man's accomplices had also started coming in through the ventilation shaft. Asia pulled herself together and went over to the lamp, cut the cord, and held it in her hand. Then she passed out from the drug.
So, when the masked guys found her passed out, they turned on the lights and took off their masks. We saw them, my friend. They were Sharon, who, as I told you, owns the place, and her brother, who's also one of the owners, and whose name, by the way, is Kevin. And of course, their third brother is the one who had been drugging Asia a little while ago. Anyway, they made sure their brother was okay, and then Sharon started dragging Asia to get her out of there. That's when Asia woke up, grabbed the wire, put it in her mouth, and got electrocuted, along with Sharon. The electricity, by the way, woke Asia up, and of course it shocked Sharon. Then Asia ran quickly and opened the closet where her sword was, then slammed the closet door on herself. At that moment, Kevin went to check on his sister Sharon and found her on top of it. Then he gathered all his sisters and they stood in front of the closet door, saying, "She's gonna come out." But she didn't. Kevin opened the door and kept laughing, and that's when Asia showed them her other face. She immediately grabbed the sword that was in her bag, completely severed Kevin's head. Then she took out her sword and literally sliced him in half, striking one of the sisters. At that moment, everyone realized that Asia wasn't like any of the other maids who had served there before, and they started fighting her, each trying to finish her off. But Asia surprised everyone with her infighting, and she took them all down at once. One of the brothers was about to grab the sword to finish her off, so she cut off his hand and leg, and then she finished him off. Two of the brothers were still holding her and kept trying to hit her, but they didn't know what was coming. Quickly, Asia lay down on the floor and slipped under the bed. Then she pulled me out, grabbed the mattress, and dragged it onto the brothers, stabbing them with the sword. She finished off one, and only Sharon was left. Fashalin took the shotgun from her and tried to hit her, but the shot didn't hit Asia. Asia grabbed her and started fighting with her again.
At that moment, one of the sisters was still alive, so she suddenly threw a dagger at Asia, hitting her right in the chest, which was really bad for her sister. Then, Asia seized the opportunity and struck her down completely, finishing her off. As for the brother, who was still alive, he immediately approached the room and started climbing up the stairs, so Asia followed him and finished him off. He was the second one with the sword, and that's when Lily Cabert, the servant, appeared to Asia. She was fascinated by her, so Asia said to her, "I want to understand exactly what this place is." Lily replied, "I'll tell you, but first tell me who you are. Why do you have such great power?" And here, Asia began to tell her about her past, and we're also going to go back to the past now to find out what Asia's story was 10 years ago. After Asia shot her father and fled, the ambulance came for him, and he followed her. Unfortunately, his daughter Maria stayed with him and was included in his will, but Asia, the second daughter, didn't know. She ran away, was caught, and sentenced to prison. Of course, the prison wasn't exactly merciful. It was full of fights and problems. There, Asia learned all kinds of fighting techniques. Meanwhile, there was a man outside the prison watching over her sister from the very beginning. Before Asia was released from prison, the man during a visit and told her the news about her sister and that she had been with their father the whole time until she decided one day to leave him and run away. She worked as a maid at a hotel called Virgil, and the man told her that when he looked into that hotel, it turned out to be a suspicious place, run by a very, very wealthy family. But the strange, suspicious thing here is that no maid who starts working there is never heard from again. So Asia told him, "I have to go save my sister."
He told her about a girl named Azabel who was supposed to start working there next week. So Asia took this information from him and waited until she left.
The first thing she did when she got out was go to Isabel's place. And of course, she stole her ID and went to the Virgil Hotel pretending to be Isabel, who was supposed to be working there. But in reality, she came here just to look for her sister. That, sir, is the whole story, which, of course, Asia was telling Lily at that very moment, when Lily suddenly realized that Asia had come to avenge her sister and was looking for her. So Lily said to her, "I swear, I wanted to help you, but the place you're in here isn't normal, and we're forced against our will to do unusual things, so forgive me." And as soon as she said, "Forgive me," Asia looked behind her and was shocked to see all the sisters she'd killed in various ways coming out of the room, and nothing had happened to them. Those with severed necks were reattaching themselves, and the same went for those with severed hands. The wounded were healing, and everything was perfectly fine. At that moment, Asia realized she wasn't dealing with ordinary humans. There was something wrong, so she immediately tried to escape the place. She went out through one of the blood. She steals Asia's sword and literally shoves it into her own stomach, so Asia can't take it back. She leaves the maid to die, her stomach gaping open like that, and immediately enters the room next to her. She stands up on her own. The strange and funny thing is that Lily went and took the sword from the maids and said something strange to her. She told her, "When you wake up from the dead, clean up the blood on the floor. We don't want it to be dirty." Then Lily took the sword and the sisters started banging on the door, trying to get into Asia's room any way they could. But Falsey refused to open it and kept running around everywhere in the place, looking for any way to escape. Then from here I found a window and tried to break it, but the window was literally shatterproof and there was no way to break it.
So she just kept wandering here and there, not knowing what to do, and they were about to break down the door and open it. By chance, while she was wandering around, she found a secret opening in this room, the one underground. She opened it and went inside, and there she found a network of tunnels running beneath the entire hotel. By the way, these tunnels were everywhere in the hotel. So Asia went deeper inside and kept trying to escape from this suspicious place. But the tunnel was huge, like I'm telling you, and long, so she didn't know where to go. Until, as she was walking, she heard Lily and the brothers talking in one of the rooms. She went toward the room they were talking in and kept listening to them from behind a secret door. But she didn't get to hear much because they sensed her presence and opened the door. She locked it again and stood there blocking them from opening it. They kept slashing at the door with their swords to kill her, until, in the end, the sword slipped into Asia's hand and she pinned it to the wall. After that, they all opened the door and mocking her. Asia, in a fit of rage, pulled her hand away from the sword, which of course meant her hand was severed, and ran from the place. But Sharon had had enough of Asia by then, so she ran after her with all her might and kept chasing her until she caught up to her, and they started fighting again. Asia then grabbed a dagger and stabbed her multiple times, and she finally died. But Hop woke up again, so Asia grabbed the shotgun and blew her brains out. Finally, she died. But Hop woke up again and started running after Asia. But since her head was gone, she had no eyes, so she couldn't locate Asia. Literally, in all stupidity, she walked in a completely different direction. As for Asia, she was holding the shotgun, standing there waiting for anyone to come and shoot her. Until finally, someone came up beside her and pinned her down. By the way, it turned out that this person was Barry, Lily's husband, who had been warning her from the start. He said, "Asia, if you want to escape from here, come with me."
She took some of them and went with him. The lesson was that whoever heard them, yes, Sharon's eye, oh my God, Sharon's eye, was lying right next to the remains of her brain, which had just exploded a moment ago. She heard those words and consequently began to follow Asha and Bari to find out where they were going and what they were going to do. Bari took Asha and kept walking with her through the tunnels. And as they walked, he was telling her, what exactly is this place? He told her, this hotel is Fergal is the head of a very wealthy family. But one day, the family made a deal with the devil. He would keep them, God forbid, from dying in exchange for them giving him annual sacrifices. Every year they bring a servant like you and sacrifice her. And as long as this happens, they remain alive. But a small portion of the servants who come are pardoned, and their names are written on a list. The list of people who don't die, so they can help these rich kids and serve them. That's the story. Asha heard this and was shocked. She asked Bari, "Why are you helping me?" He told her, "Because I'm sick of what's going on in this house. The things I was forced to participate in. So much. But we have to stop it." Asha believed his words, honestly. Then Bari took her and kept walking. And of course, that eye, Sharon's eye, was following them the whole time. Finally, Bari took Asha and they entered a room in the hotel. That room, praise be to God, turned out to be the room where, oh, Sister Asha.
Asia was so happy that her sister was alive. She thought they would embrace each other, but that didn't happen. Maria was upset with her sister for betraying her in the past. So Asia said to her, "Wait a moment. The servants who come here are supposed to die, except for a very few who stay with the family, and you joined them." So Maria told Asia that after she ran away a long time ago and left her, their father caught Maria and went back to doing to her everything he used to do.
After doing every odd job you can imagine, Asia finally decided to run away from her father. She happened to see an ad saying that the Virgin Hotel was hiring staff, so she went to work there. Of course, they were going to kill her, but they were short-staffed, so instead of killing her, they let her stay for now and introduced themselves to her. They explained how the place worked and that she had to follow the rules and stay with them. She agreed to stay because she was willing to do anything just to get away from her father's problems. That's the story. Asia heard this from here and was upset with her sister, but she wanted to take her and leave. Mariah didn't respond and was determined not to go. So Asia hit her and knocked her unconscious. Then she told Bari, "I'm taking her with me, even if I have to drag her." Bari told her, "The hotel here is actually designed so no one can get out, but there's only one exit, the fire exit on the 9th floor." Asia stood up and was about to go out when she saw Sharon's eyes right next to her. She grabbed her and dragged her away. Then she opened the door and started attacking anyone in front of her, and she began running with her sister while Bari tried to protect them. But there were still a lot of the guys chasing her, so Bari stood his ground to hold them off, while Asia took the elevator with her sister and went up to the 9th floor. Of course, Bari got caught, but because he's one of them and because Lily loves him, he's her husband, as we said. But anyway, they tied him up and locked him in a room, and Lily sat with him alone and said to him, "Please, remember what we used to be before we joined this family. Don't let all this go to waste." He told her, "No, I remember. We were just like you, but we had a heart and a conscience. I'm done. I'm not going on." Lily lost her temper, grabbed the venue's microphone, and told all the staff there to help her catch Asia and bring her back. At that moment, all the staff and everyone in the hotel, he grabbed all kinds of weapons in various shapes and colors, put on a mask, and started chasing Asia and Mariam. Speaking of them, we find that they finally made it to the 9th floor. When they got there, a guy heard their voices, came in, grabbed Asia, and started beating her. He was about to finish her off completely, but thank God Mariam had woken up. So she hit the man with a sword and finished him off. Then she said to her sister, "I wish you hadn't come looking for me. Keep running, and I'll try to distract them until you get away." They took each other's hands and ran. At that moment, Asia grabbed an axe and ran after her sister, but suddenly found herself in a completely dark room. Suddenly, a group of men beating her and dragging her out of the room. They then told her they'd caught her sister and were threatening her to turn herself in. Asia lost her temper, set the axe on fire so she could see, and went back into that dark room. She kept swinging at everyone left and right. Literally, the group was huge, but she took them all down. The last one was holding a gun, so Asia smashed a table on him to block the shot. Then she went at him with the axe and finished him off completely. Finally, she found her sister, and they hugged each other. This time, they really made up for good. But honestly, that's not the point. Everyone Asia had killed started getting up, meaning they grabbed each other and fled via the elevator. And of course, in the midst of all this, everyone was looking for Asia and Miriam.
After a while, Asia and Miriam started climbing the staircase, the one that's always above the elevator, so they could get to the roof and escape.
But then one of the guys came over and started climbing up to reach them, so they started shooting at him left and right. It didn't do any good, so they kept running until they got out of the elevator and ran right into Lily, Sharon, Kevin, and everyone else. That's when Lily said to her, "Calm down a little, Asia. I want to tell you something. What do you think, Maria? Instead of being a sacrifice and dying, you became one of us." Then Asia looked at her and said, "Maria, when they told me a long time ago, either stay with us or die, I was already gone. And then they told me I had to bring a sacrifice so I could stay like them and not die. And if I didn't, I'd be killed. So I was going to bring Azabel, whose identity you stole and whose place you took. So if I don't give the devil, God forbid, a sacrifice, I'll die today." Asia was shocked, and everyone rushed over to grab her. She jumped out of the elevator. But don't worry, they caught her again. Then they carried her up to the roof. To whom? Yeah, with their devil, God forbid. As soon as they got out, everyone was up there. They had Bari Fowler with them too. So the devil manifested inside a pig's head. It looked really disgusting. And he went and told Lily, "You disappointed me when your husband Bari killed him. I'll remove your name from the list." And this list, by the way, is just like I said. My mom writes on the pig's head, and whoever's name is written there becomes one of the people who don't die at that time. Lily, because her mind was completely brainwashed, went ahead and killed her husband Bari. But actually, she was sad after what happened. She went out in front of everyone and apologized to the pig, saying, "Please give me a second chance." He said, "Okay, write your name on my face so you'll be among those who don't die, and then kill your sister. And that's it. You'll be forgiven." She said, "Okay," grabbed the pen and wrote her name on it. To everyone's shock, she apologized to her sister and went and killed her herself. Asia was shocked and collapsed next to her sister. She was sobbing uncontrollably, and in her sister's final moments, she told her that she had written her name, Asia, on the pig, and said, "Just get it over with, everyone." So Asia quickly stood up, grabbed the knife, cut out the piece of skin with her name written on it, and stuffed it into her pocket so no one would know to wipe it off. Then she grabbed the knife and went down to strike everyone with all her fury. She'd grab one, tie him to a chain, strangle him, and tie the second one with a sickle in his stomach, nailing him firmly to the wall. She'd grab the second one and hang him over a nitrogen vapor tank. She literally slaughtered everyone and kept going until she'd finished them all, every last one, except for Lily. And that's when the pig decided to take matters into its own hands. So he placed himself on Lily's body and became like her head, literally taking Lily's place, and immediately grabbed the sword and started fighting with Lily. He hit Lily a lot, but it's okay. She's like that. She doesn't die. She kept fighting him. Then she grabbed him by the nose and completely separated him from Lily. Then she grabbed Lily and threw her onto the... Then she killed him completely. After that, she stuck the pig's head on the pipe and lit it on fire. So all the names that were on the pig were wiped away by the fire consuming it. And all the family members that Asia had killed were truly, truly dead this time. That's it, sir. The matter ends there, and everyone is completely dead.
She got rid of everyone who was at the hotel, but the pigskin patch with the name Asia on it was still in Asia's pocket, so she put Maria in place of her name. As a result, Maria came back, and now Asia is completely free of that patch too. She decides to live the rest of her life with her sister in peace, and they all got in the car and left the place completely. And that's how this very strange movie ends. Bye!